Hello everyone, it's me Caitlin, and in this video we're going to be finishing Amber the Orange Fairy by Daisy Meadows Rainbow Magic. Hold on, let me just sip my tea. So in this episode we're going to be finishing it since we only have 2 chapters left. And that's Chapter 5, Goblin Alert, and Chapter 6, Bertram to the Rescue. So without further ado, get in bed, get comfortable, and enjoy the story. Chapter 5, Goblin Alert. Rachel and Kirsty felt shivers run down their spine as the whole pond froze over. Jack Frost's grinning face faded away. "Follow me," ordered Bertram. He hopped over to the large bush. "We'll hide here." "Maybe we should go back to the pot," said Ruby. "Not if the goblins are close by," Bertram replied. "We mustn't let them know where the pot is." The 2 girls crouched down behind the bush next to Bertram. Ruby and Amber sat very still on Kirsty and Rachel's shoulder. It was getting colder and colder. Rachel and Kirsty couldn't stop their teeth chattering. "What are goblins like?" Rachel asked. "They're bigger than us," said Amber. She was trembling with fright. "And they have ugly faces and hooked noses and big feet," Ruby added, holding her sister's hand for comfort. "Hush, Miss Ruby," Bertram croaked. "I can hear something." Rachel and Kirsty listened. Suddenly, Rachel saw a hooked nose shadow flit across the clearing towards them. She grabbed Kirsty's arm. They were peering out of the bush when the leaves rustled right next to them. They almost jumped out of their skin. "Oi!" said a gruff voice, sounding very close. "What do you think you're doing?" Rachel and Kirsty held their breath. "Nothing," said another gruff voice, very rudely. "Goblins," Amber whispered nervously in Kirsty's ear. "You stood on my toe," said the first goblin, crossly. "No, I didn't," snapped the other goblin. "Yes, you did. Keep your big feet to yourself." "Well, at least my nose isn't as big as yours." The bush shook even more. It sounded as if the goblins were pushing and shoving each other. "Get out of my way," one of them shouted. "Ow! That'll teach you to push me," yelled the other one. Rachel and Kirsty looked at each other in alarm. What if the goblins found them there? "Come on," puffed one of the goblins. "Jack Frost will be really cross if we don't find these fairies. You know he wants us to stop them from getting to Fairyland." "Well, they're not here, are they?" grumbled the other one. "Let's try somewhere else." The voices died away, the leaves stopped rustling, and suddenly the air felt warm again. There was a crackling sound as the frozen pond began to melt. "They're gone," Bertram croaked. "Quick, we must get back to the pot." They all hurried across the clearing. The pot stood under the weeping willow tree, just as before. "I'll stay outside in case the goblins come back," Bertram began. But a shout from Kirsty stopped them all in their tracks. "Look!" she cried. "The pot's frozen over." Kirsty was right. The top of the pot was covered with a thick sheet of ice. No one, not even a fairy, could get inside. "Oh no!" Ruby gasped. "The goblins must have passed really closely. Thank goodness they didn't discover the pot." She flew over the pot with Amber right beside her. They drummed on the ice with their tiny fists, but it was too thick for them to break through. "Shall we try, Rachel?" asked Kirsty. "Maybe we could smash the ice with a stick." But Bertram had another idea. "Stand back, please, everyone," he said. The girls moved to the edge of the clearing. Ruby sat on Kirsty's hand and Amber flew over to Rachel. They all watched. Suddenly, Bertram leaped forward with a mighty hop and jumped straight at the sheet of ice, kicking out with his webbed feet. But the ice did not break. "Let's try that again," he panted. He jumped forward again and hit the ice. This time there was a loud cracking sound. One more jump and the ice is shattered into a million pieces. Some of it fell inside the pot. Rachel and Kirsty rushed over to fish out the bits before they melted. "There you are," Bertram croaked. "Thank you, Bertram," Ruby called. She and Amber flew down and hugged the frog. Bertram looked pleased. "Just doing my job, Miss Ruby," he said. "You and Miss Amber must stay very close to the pot from now on. It's dangerous for you to go too far." "Well, we've got to say goodbye to our friends first," Amber told them. She flew into the air and did a backflip, smiling at Rachel and Kirsty. "Thank you 1,000 times." "We'll see you again soon," said Rachel. When we found your next rainbow sisters," Kirsty added. "Good luck," said Ruby. "We'll be waiting here for you. Come on, Amber." She took her sister's hand and they flew into the pot. The two fairies turned around to wave at the girls. Then they disappeared inside. "Don't worry," Bertram said. "I'll look after them." "We know you will," Rachel said. As she picked up her beach bag, she and Kirsty walked out of the wood. "I'm glad Ruby isn't on her own anymore," said Rachel. "Now she's got Amber and Bertram." "I didn't like those goblins," Kirsty said with a shudder. "I hope they don't come back again." They made their way back to the beach. Their parents were packing away their towels. Rachel's dad saw Rachel and Kirsty coming down from the lane and went to meet them. You've been a long time," he smiled. "We were just coming to look for you." "Are we going home now?" Rachel asked. Mr. Walker nodded. "It's very strange," he said. It suddenly turned quite chilly. As he spoke, a cold breeze swirled around Rachel and Kirsty. They shivered and looked up at the sky. The sun had disappeared behind a thick black cloud. The trees swayed into the wind, and the leaves rustled as they were whispering to each other. "Jack Frost's goblins are still here," Kirsty gasped. "You're right," Rachel agreed. "Let's hope Bertram can keep Ruby and Amber safe while we look for the other rainbow fairies." The end. That was Amber the Orange Fairy, and I have to say it was actually a really good book. I liked it. And we only have 5 of the Rainbow Fairy books, which is Saffron the Yellow Fairy, Fern the Green Fairy, Sky the Blue Fairy, Izzy the Indigo Fairy, and Heather the Violet Fairy. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this story, and I hope you have a wonderful sleep. Good night.